Welcome back to the deep dive. Just take a moment, look around. AI isn't just showing up anymore. It's really woven deeply into our daily lives, isn't it?
It really is.
From recommendations on your phone to these complex systems running behind the scenes, it's just everywhere. And for many of you listening, dedicating your careers to public service, well, that presence is even more pronounced. It promises efficiency, faster processes, maybe even, unprecedented access to information.
Definitely feels exciting.
It does, in many ways. But here's the question that really needs our attention today. While AI offers all these really compelling efficiencies, what's maybe the hidden cost, specifically to our most vital human skill, critical thinking? So today we're embarking on a fascinating and I think incredibly timely deep dive. We're looking into a study that grapples with exactly this really intricate relationship between how we use AI tools, the health of our critical thinking skills, and a really pivotal concept called cognitive offloading.
And for you, our listener in public service, navigating these complex decisions that shape the lives of Canadians every single day. This deep dive isn't just, interesting. It's absolutely crucial. Our mission today is really to equip you with valuable, actionable insights quickly, without that feeling of information overload. So you're better prepared to understand and strategically navigate this evolving digital landscape in your vital work. We want you to feel empowered by this, not overwhelmed.
Okay, so let's unpack this fundamental concept first then. Critical thinking. It's a term we hear thrown around a lot.
All the time.
But when we talk about its importance for, say, evaluating a new policy for Canadian families, what's really at its heart? What does it actually look like in action?
That's a really great question because it's definitely not just a buzzword. Our source defines it very clearly. It's the ability to analyze, evaluate, and synthesize information to make reasoned, sound decisions. But it's more than that, too. It's about active problem solving, right? Thoughtful decision-making, and that kind of deep reflective thinking that allows us to go beyond just the surface-level assumptions.
Okay.
It's the skill that lets you connect, seemingly disparate pieces of information, challenge your own biases maybe, and arrive at a conclusion that actually stands up to scrutiny.
So for a public servant, this isn't just nice to have.
Oh, absolutely not. It's the bedrock, the foundation of effective governance.
And its importance really can't be overstated, can it? I mean, this isn't just some academic exercise for universities.
No.
It's fundamental for everything from academic success to professional competence, and crucially for informed citizenship.
Absolutely. Just think about it. For those of you in public service, critical thinking is truly indispensable. Whether you're grappling with, say, new federal climate policies or evaluating huge amounts of data for provincial healthcare services,
Right.
or maybe making those daily regulatory decisions that directly affect communities, from St. John's all the way to Vancouver, that ability to deeply analyze evidence, discern subtle biases in data, anticipate long-term consequences, it's paramount. Without that really keen human critical lens, how can we truly ensure equitable, effective, and well-reasoned outcomes for the diverse citizens you serve? It's what makes a good policy into a truly transformative one.
Okay, so critical thinking, non-negotiable. We've established that. Now let's talk about the AI revolution and this cognitive twist you mentioned. We can't deny the incredible, almost, seductive benefits of AI tools. Virtual assistants, those recommendation algorithms that seem to know us so well.
Eerily well sometimes.
Right. And the complex decision support systems we're seeing deployed more and more, even in government operations, they all promise enhanced efficiency, speed, and, frankly, access to information like never before. It feels like a huge step forward.
But what's fascinating here, though, is the often overlooked dual-edged nature of AI. That's a key phrase from the research.
Dual-edged. Okay.
Yeah. While we are, rightly celebrating the immense benefits and efficiencies, there's this growing kind of quiet concern about AI's potential cognitive impact, particularly on those critical thinking skills we just discussed. It's not about being anti-AI at all, but about really understanding the full picture.
And this is where that term you mentioned earlier, cognitive offloading, really takes center stage.
Exactly.
Can you tell us more about what that actually means? Why is it so central here?
Of course. Simply put, cognitive offloading is when we use external tools, and in this case, like AI, to delegate cognitive tasks, basically reducing the burden on our own working memory.
So like outsourcing parts of your thinking.
Precisely. Outsourcing parts of your thinking process. It's not entirely new. I mean, we've always done it to some extent, using a calculator instead of mental math, right?
GPS instead of a map.
Or GPS,
Huh.
exactly. But AI takes us to a whole different level. It's offloading tasks that used to require significant human analysis and thought.
It makes perfect sense, though, that our brains, given an easier path, would often take it. I mean, who wouldn't want to offload some mental burden?
Right.
But isn't there also an argument that maybe offloading the simple, repetitive stuff actually frees up our critical thinking for the bigger, harder problems? Is the study saying that isn't always the case, or is it more nuanced?
That's a brilliant point, and it's precisely the nuance. Offloading can free up mental resources, absolutely. But the potential downside, which this study really highlights, is that it might also lead to a decline in our fundamental cognitive engagement and skill development if we're not careful, if it's not managed thoughtfully. Think about the Google effect, for instance. Researchers like Sparrow and her colleagues found that easy access to information online actually reduces our need for internal memory retention.
Huh.
So people tend to remember where to find information rather than the information itself.
Right, I remember reading about that.
Yeah. So if you constantly rely on an AI to summarize, say, a complex policy brief for you, well, you might remember that the AI summarized it, but maybe not the deep intricacies of the policy itself, the actual substance. And similarly, these automated decision support systems, while they're incredibly efficient for high-volume tasks, they might reduce the need for professionals, like many of you listening, to engage in that independent critical analysis.
Give me an example.
Sure. Imagine an AI sifting through thousands of health records to recommend a diagnostic path. Super efficient, right?
Yeah.
But if the human professional just accepts that recommendation without really scrutinizing the underlying data or considering the patient's unique context, well, that's a form of cognitive offloading that could have profound consequences.
You're delegating the thinking.
You're delegating the critical thinking, exactly. And over time, that muscle, that critical thinking muscle, it can atrophy. It's almost like our brains, given that easier path, will often take it. And while that sounds convenient, the long-term cost to our cognitive muscles could be immense.
Like a fitness routine for your mind.
Exactly. If you always use the machine, does your own strength ever truly increase?
That's a powerful analogy.
Wow.
Wow. And I wonder how many of us have just found ourselves Googling an answer instead of really wrestling with a problem ourselves anymore. Okay, now let's dive into the core study that grounds this deep dive. It sounds like a compelling piece of research. You said mixed method.
Yeah, mixed methods. So both surveys for the quantitative, the number stuff, and then in-depth interviews for the qualitative insights, the stories behind the numbers.
And a big sample size.
Pretty substantial, yeah. 666 participants across diverse age groups, different educational backgrounds, all in the UK. So this isn't just, a handful of anecdotes. It's robust data. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, well, the quantitative findings from this study are truly eye-opening and, frankly, a bit unsettling.
Okay.
First, they found a significant negative correlation between frequent AI tool usage and critical thinking abilities.
Negative correlation, so
Yeah.
more AI use.
Lower critical thinking scores, exactly. Here's the uncomfortable truth the study laid bare. The more we lean on AI, the more we risk dulling the very critical thinking skills we need. It's not just a slight trend, it's a statistically significant erosion. The p-value was less than 0.001, which in statistical terms is incredibly strong.
Wow, less than 0.001.
Yeah, it shows this isn't just coincidence, it's a profound relationship. Second, cognitive offloading. It was indeed confirmed as a significant mediating factor. It's the bridge. It explains why increased AI usage impacts critical thinking. It's the mechanism at play. Third, age differences really emerged clearly. And this is quite telling. Younger participants, those between 17 and 25, they showed higher dependence on AI tools and, unfortunately, statistically lower critical thinking scores.
And older participants.
Older participants, 46 years and older, showed the opposite trend. Less AI dependence, higher critical thinking scores, which suggests, maybe a generational shift in how we approach problem solving with technology.
That's a lot of data pointing to a pretty clear and, concerning trend. But in practical terms, what's the most surprising takeaway for you from these numbers? And why do you think we're seeing such a strong correlation, especially with younger users, the digital natives?
Well, what truly stands out to me is just the sheer strength of that negative correlation. It's not mild, it's significant. It suggests this isn't just about convenience, it's about a real cognitive shift happening.
Right.
As for younger users, it's likely a mix of things. They've grown up with AI readily available, often as a first resort.
Yeah.
So the habit of offloading might be more ingrained. They maybe haven't had the same opportunities to build those muscles of independent critical thinking from the ground up before AI became so ubiquitous. But here's a truly empowering finding, especially for many of you listening, dedicated public servants. Higher educational attainment was consistently associated with better critical thinking skills, regardless of AI usage.
Okay, that is crucial.
It really is. It's a crucial positive finding. Your commitment to ongoing learning, your higher education, it seems to act as a powerful shield against this AI-induced cognitive slip.
So education provides resilience.
Exactly. Resilience. It's a testament to the enduring value of, well, human intellect and formal learning. It offers a blueprint for staying sharp in the AI age. And finally, the study also found that higher education levels and older age groups were linked to greater engagement in deep thinking activities, as were those in managerial roles, which suggests that experience, formal learning, and roles requiring significant oversight act as protective factors.
That's actually a relief to hear that education and experience can be such strong buffers.
Yeah.
Okay, so shifting gears then to the qualitative side, the interviews. What did the participants actually say? What were their real-world experiences, their anxieties?
Yeah, the interviews really provided vivid color and, the human dimension to those numbers. We heard about significant AI dependence, which, frankly, sounds like something we can all relate to.
I bet.
One participant said, and I'm quoting here, "I use AI for everything, from scheduling to finding information. It's become a part of how I think."
Wow. Part of how I think.
Yeah. That really highlights how AI isn't just a tool anymore. It can become a cognitive substitute, not just a supplement. It can fundamentally alter our approach. There were also clear cognitive engagement concerns. People expressed genuine anxieties about having fewer opportunities for independent thought. Here's another quote. "The more I use AI, the less I feel the need to problem solve on my own. It's like I'm losing my ability to think critically."
Oof. That hits hard.
It does. And from a participant with less formal education, a really poignant worry. "I sometimes feel like I'm losing my own problem-solving skills." These aren't just academic fears, they're deeply personal observations about a perceived cognitive erosion. Ethical concerns also came up, particularly around transparency and potential bias in AI recommendations. One participant shared, "I sometimes wonder if AI is subtly nudging me toward decisions I wouldn't normally make."
The black box problem.
Exactly. This participant is hitting on the black box problem, that opaque nature of AI where we get an output, a recommendation, but we don't fully understand the algorithms, the data it was trained on, the logic behind it.
Right.
That lack of transparency, that black box nature, it's a real and significant risk, especially in public service. And finally, the interviews really underscored education's powerful role in scrutiny. A highly educated participant remarked, "My education has taught me the importance of not accepting things at face value, especially when it comes to AI." They recognize the need to question, to verify.
Whereas others might not feel equipped to do that.
Exactly. Contrast that with a less educated participant who said, maybe with a hint of resignation, "I don't have the time or skills to verify what AI says, I just trust it."
That's a stark difference.
It really is. It highlights how critical thinking training acts as that crucial buffer, empowering people to be discerning users of AI, not just passive recipients.
Okay, so we've seen the data, we've heard the personal stories. Now, for the so what moment, what does this all mean for you, the listener, in public service? And by extension, for the Canadian citizens you work so hard to serve? This isn't just academic, right? It has real, tangible implications.
Absolutely. This raises truly important questions about the daily realities and the immense responsibilities of a public service across Canada. Let's consider policy development first.
Okay.
How might excessive cognitive offloading to AI impact the critical analysis of those vast data sets involved in policy design? Think about identifying biases within that data, or the crucial consideration of long-term equitable consequences for diverse Canadian communities.
Right, subtle things AI might miss or even amplify.
Precisely. If we rely too heavily on AI to summarize reports or suggest policy angles without deep human scrutiny, are we truly ensuring well-reasoned, fair policies for everyone? Ensuring equitable policies for Canadians hinges on human critical analysis, not just AI summaries. Then there's service delivery. For those of you using AI-powered decision support systems, maybe in social services, reviewing provincial health records, or processing federal benefit applications, how do we ensure professionals maintain independent critical analysis?
You can't just click approve based on the AI.
Exactly. Public servants need to be able to explain, to scrutinize, and, if necessary, to override AI decisions to serve citizens ethically and effectively. That black box problem we just talked about, just accepting AI recommendations without fully understanding how they got there, could lead to flawed decisions.
Which erodes public trust.
Directly erodes public trust, and it can severely impact citizen well-being and their access to vital services. And beyond specific decisions, think about just information evaluation and public trust more broadly. You handle vast amounts of information, daily public sentiment reports, economic forecasts, scientific data. If AI becomes an unquestioned filter for this, how do we ensure the impartiality and accuracy of the information shaping public discourse and government action? The black box here isn't just about automated decisions, but about the very inputs to our understanding. That can profoundly impact public trust. And finally, there's maintaining professional competence. The study points to a very real risk of cognitive dependence, maybe even cognitive laziness.
Ouch. But probably true for many fields.
It is. So how do public servants ensure they continue to develop and apply their own complex problem-solving and analytical strategies, even as AI handles more routine or data-heavy tasks? It's about maintaining that crucial professional competence, the kind you need to tackle novel, complex challenges that no AI has been programmed for yet, or navigate unforeseen crises that demand uniquely human judgment.
We can't afford for our collective cognitive muscle to atrophy.
Exactly.
That paints a very clear picture of the stakes involved. Okay, so this isn't about shunning AI altogether. Clearly, it's about using it strategically, responsibly, with clear-eyed awareness. Based on this research, what actionable recommendations emerge? How can public servants, those serving Canadians, stay sharp, keep their critical thinking skills tuned, and really leverage AI as an ally without becoming dependent?
Okay, several key things come to mind, rooted in the study's implications. First, we need balanced AI integration.
Balanced integration, okay.
AI tools should always complement human cognitive tasks, never completely replace them. Think hybrid approach. AI assists maybe sifting huge data sets, flagging anomalies, but the human critical review stays central.
So build it into the workflow.
Yes. Build it in specific workflows within government departments that require critical human oversight of all significant AI outputs, especially in high-stakes decisions affecting citizens. We need to design systems that demand human engagement, not diminish it. Second, foster active learning and engagement. Promote environments and training that genuinely encourage deep thinking, problem-solving, independent learning.
Beyond just ticking a box on a training module.
Exactly. Move beyond passive training. Maybe integrate critical thinking exercises into ongoing professional development using real public service challenges. Perhaps case studies where AI gives an initial analysis, but then individuals or teams have to dissect, critique its recommendations, find the biases, the omissions.
Use it or lose it, essentially.
Pretty much. The more you use those critical thinking muscles, the stronger they get, even with AI in the picture. Third, boost AI literacy and broader media literacy, too. It's absolutely imperative to train public servants not just to use AI, but to critically evaluate AI-generated content, understand potential algorithmic biases.
Knowing the limitations.
Knowing the limitations. This isn't just about ethics, it's about accuracy, impartiality key to serving citizens equitably, understanding how models are trained, where they might fail or be biased. That's a crucial skill now. It empowers you to ask the right questions about the tools. Fourth, develop metacognitive skills.
Metacognitive. Thinking about thinking.
Exactly. Helping individuals become truly aware of when and how to use AI appropriately. Fostering self-awareness about your own cognitive processes and your own potential for offloading.
So asking yourself,
am I really thinking critically right now? Or am I just letting the AI do the heavy lifting? Knowing your own strengths and weaknesses relative to AI, and consciously choosing when to engage your deep thought versus when it's okay to offload a task. It's a kind of self-regulatory skill for the AI age. And finally, targeted professional development. Design ongoing training programs that specifically address cognitive offloading. Emphasize critical thinking exercises tailored to those uniquely complex public service challenges that really impact Canadians. This isn't a one-time fix, it's an ongoing commitment to cognitive fitness, ensuring that as AI evolves, so do the human skills needed to wield it wisely for the public good.
This deep dive has really illuminated the complex yet absolutely critical interplay between our increasing reliance on AI and preserving our fundamental critical thinking skills. It feels like a clear call to action for all of us, but especially perhaps for those of you dedicated to public service. It's about being mindful users of technology, right? Not just passive consumers.
Precisely. The question isn't if we use AI anymore, it's how we use it. How do we genuinely enhance our capabilities, amplify our reach, serve more efficiently without inadvertently diminishing our most crucial human skill, critical thought, which is just essential for ensuring robust, fair, effective public services for all Canadians. It's a delicate balance, definitely, and one we have to consciously cultivate.
So for you, the public servant listening, maybe consider this. In an increasingly AI-powered future where efficiency is so tempting and data feels endless, how can we intentionally design our daily tasks, our team collaborations, even our government systems, to ensure that human critical thinking remains not just preserved, but actually profoundly amplified for the enduring benefit and the trust of every single Canadian citizen?